Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live stream. We are live doing question time. Just waiting for Unreal to finish loading up, so bear with us for a second. Let me just sort this out. No, of course, all the technology is not working. One moment. Let me turn. Oh, I wish I could turn it off. I can't turn it off. Okay, never mind. I'm stuck with that one. It's not going to bother you. It's going to only bother me, but that's fine. Yeah, so welcome to tonight's live stream. We are live yet again for question time, where we answer your questions about Unreal Engine and game dev and everything in between. First of all, apologies for lack of sessions, live streams last week and the podcast last night. Last week, I was in hospital with my wife. She collapsed in the shower. We had to take her to the hospital and had to deal with lots of stuff there. Ultimately, she needed to get a blood transfusion and be on the mend, and hopefully she is better now. But obviously, we don't know the root cause of this, so we're going to have to go back for a few more tests first. But she is doing a lot better now, so thank you for your patience on that one. It's been a very busy week of lots of trips up the hospital. So and then last night we didn't do the podcast because Bill was ill. So we're all dropping like flyers. Hopefully back podcast next week with Bill. But we're here live tonight doing question time, answering your questions. So the way it works, if you've not done this before, is you just put your question into chat and we'll try and grab as many questions as we can. If I do miss your question, don't fret, just put it back into chat. Try it without spamming. And I'll get round to it as soon as I can. Okay, we'll be going for about an hour. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Let's take a look at some of the questions we've got going on in here. So, first up, we've got a question here from Well, I'm still waiting for Unreal to finish loading up. Typical. So let's try and handle ones that don't require Unreal straight away. Um, this one's from Ryan JDev87. I've changed my entire workflow over to C++ to ChatGPT to Visual Studio Code Codex Assistant. It's amazing. I've just refactored my entire backend in one day and gained over 100 FPS. That's really cool. Well done. Yeah, it can be really cool. Combine those things together. Obviously, you have to know what the hell you're doing. But yeah, good to hear. Next up, we've got, again, still waiting to load up. So let's see what I can answer off the bat here. Hi, HJ. Yeah, we're all okay now. Hi, Nilan. You're struggling with multiplayer widgets. In what sense are you struggling with multiplayer widgets? I'm just going to open this window. Give me 1 second. Get a bit warm. Toasty in the office here. A-Man 7ohms. After transferring weights, how to fix the little animation errors like pants stretching weirdly between legs when crouched. If you've got stretching in your model, there's a number of reasons why that could be the case with animation sense. You need to make sure there's enough vertices in where the joints are. So usually where you've got like knees and elbows, things like that, you put in more vertices, more seams in there, so it can bend and stretch without too much deformation. So yeah, try to get that. The other thing is just the other reason that could be issues is your weight painting is off. You need to fix the weights from the skinning to be a bit tighter. But without seeing it firsthand, it's a bit hard to say for certain. Alex, hello Ryan. I'm sorry for your wife. Thank you. I wanted to ask if you're going to make a tutorial about EIK by B-Type. It is free. That's the EOS integration kit, isn't it? I've seen bits of it. I haven't played with it yet. I've got another EOS plugin that I use at the moment, but it's a paid for one. So it'd be interesting to try out that one and see how that goes. But when it comes up, yeah, we'll have a look. What is Unreal doing? It's compiling the shaders for some reason. Oh yeah. Okay. Ada Interactive. How would you set it up so camera in third-person character is not anchored to the character? For example, jumping without the camera following. Jumping without the camera not anchored. Oh right. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So for that, you probably, because when you jump, the whole actor jumps up in the air. It's not like a part of it jumps up. So there's nothing you can attach it to in there. So my first thought would be to separate the camera from the player, have a separate camera actor that's tied to the character. This is how we do it in like 2D games and 2.5D games. You tie them like movement-wise to the character like normal, but with the Z-axis, you have a threshold of when to actually account for the player going up and over. The alternative, if you want to keep it on the player characters, is make use of the lag feature, but that's kind of limiting because it will affect it in all directions, not just up and down. So when it opens up, I'll take a look and show you how you can do things like that if it ever opens up. Nilan, how can I get the player who opened a widget? Get owning player and expose variable will always return the server's player instead. So yeah, widgets, if it's displayed on your screen, like a viewport, it's always owned by the screen owner. So if it's a server screen, if it's a client screen, it's always owned by them. The owning player pin that you're referring to is mostly used for local multiplayer. So if you've got split screen, for example, you need to know which one belongs to which player. That's when that comes in. So for anything that goes add to viewport, that is always the client, i.e. server point of view. It's always their own thing because being added to their viewport. So it'd be interesting to know what you're trying to achieve with the widgets. The way widgets typically work with multiplayer is they are just a visual representation of what information is available to you in the game state and player states. So you try to manipulate communication through those as intermediaries and update your widgets accordingly. Have you upgraded to Windows 11? I've been on Windows 11 for a while now. What is going on with the shaders? Oh, thank you for the super chat, Ada. Thank you. Unreal is here. We can jump into Unreal. Okay. Still preparing shaders for whatever reason. I don't know. Okay. So let me try and answer some of these questions that I needed this for here. Let me go up here. Hey Ryan, Asmund here. I hope you can show how to make a flashlight that doesn't clip when looking at corners. Do you mean like a flashlight mesh clipping? Like being held by the character, i.e. also gun will also be the problem. Is that what you're talking about? And I'm guessing you're talking about first person point of view. Give me a bit more information. That'd be great. Oh yeah, so Ada interactive with the camera. So we're in third person here. So as you are aware, your character has a camera attached to them, and it's going to move the camera there. You need the camera to be separate from the character because the character, all of it will jump in the air. We don't want that to be the case with the camera. The other thing, you can if it's rotational base, you can actually turn it off. But translational base, I don't think you can turn it off. No, you can't. So yeah, this needs to be separate. I'm just going to copy that. Add a blueprint class, actor, camera, and paste that there. With the camera, I was hoping it would come across with the camera. Never mind. There we are. And much like how this one's attached to the character, it would be the same sort of thing. So I wanted to basically take this off of here. And off of there. This camera is going to be attached to the player character. So we can attach it or we can make it follow it. Depends on what you want to try and do. I'm just going to attach it to the character. Attach actor to actor. Get player character. Actually, no, we can't do that because we need to detach it from the root. Yeah, okay, my bad. So this has to be happening on a tick. So it's updating its position on the tick all the time. So we're going to do set actor location. And we're going to get the player character. Get the actor location. And I want to plug that into there. On begin play, we want to get the player controller and view from this thing. Set view target. Okay. And it won't work exactly how you want it to at first. So, if I want to push play, there you go. First of all, the collision is going to clip through for the character, so we need to not do that. It looks like the camera movement is not too bad, so that might be all right. But let's take a look at doing that. Spring arm. I'm going to change the probe channel here to visibility. No, still getting hit by that. Why is that the case? I thought these didn't block visibility. Yeah, ignoring visibility and ignoring visibility. So why is this? Oh, didn't put self in. My bad. We weren't viewing it. We were viewing something else. There we go. Okay, so yeah, this thing won't move the camera. The character's turning because they're using control rotation. For the camera to take that, we need to tell the spring arm here to rotate based upon the control rotation, because this tick box for use pawn control rotation won't work because it's not placed on a pawn. So what we need to do is we set actor rotation, and we want to get the control rotation of the I think you can get from the character. Yeah, get control rotation. Plug that in there. So first thing when doing anything like this, try to get simulating as close as possible to what the actual camera does originally. So here we've now got the camera as it would functionally work regardless. So I want to take out that Z drop. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to interject here on this new location based upon the Z axis here. So let's split this, X, Y. And the Z here, we're going to make it only go to the Z if it's a different, if the difference is too great. So the dead zone in the middle. So if I say get actor location, split that again, and I want to know the difference between this. So that, subtract this, absolute. And the reason why we do absolute is because we don't care if it's negative or positive difference, which way you subtract it. It doesn't matter. We just want to get the actual distance between the two. So this absolute value, we're going to put it in a threshold. So if it's greater than, I don't know, 800, then the new location here is going to be selected with a select vote. If it's true, and it's going to be A, we want to use the new Z location, which is from the player character. If it's not, it's B. I want to pick the existing location from the actor. So now it shouldn't move when I'm jumping. But if my character falls too high from the camera, oh, it's not high enough. Hold on. I made the threshold too high. One sec. Let's change that to 500, maybe. Nope. Still not enough. I changed it to 300. That's definitely enough. He says. Why is that not doing it? Hang on. Maybe just print string that value there. Okay, so it's 227, right? Okay. Right, let's do 200. Okay. And so it will only move up and down based upon the distance of the character. If it's beyond a certain amount. The issue we have here is that when they go through the go above the terrain, the camera's not going to take the Z-axis value. So we probably only want to take into account the difference in What do we want to do? We probably want to take in... Basically, when we're falling, we only want to take that into account. So let's do that here for only when we're falling. It's going to look a bit messy, but we'll deal with it. Is falling... And this location here, we're going to do select float. If is falling is true, I want what we just calculated. Otherwise, it would just be the normal Z value. So as I run around, it should be fine. But with a jump, it fixes it. Now, at the moment, it's just snapping to it. You can get by with that with an F lerp or a V lerp, which you're going to do to blend that smoothly in. So on the camera here, we've got these values going into this. Let me just move this to the side. Yeah. I'm just going to make that a bit tidier there. Yeah, I'm going to do F interp 2. And that would be the delta time. The target would be this one coming into it. That would be new location. And the current would be the current actor location. On the Z there. Like that. And then you put in the speed. 3. And that should smooth it out. So you don't get a snap when it jumps down. Yeah. That's looking a lot better. Hope that helps. Okay. Oh, there you go. Yeah, Sinian just said his falling ball. Yep. Exactly that. Does that take collision into account? With what? The walls? Yeah, yeah. Because it's still got the spring arm doing its thing. Oh, the other issue we got is when we jump up. That's another issue to solve. We may want to trigger it for when we're falling down, maybe. Maybe you have to do like tweaking to check to see if the falling is down or up. Because at that moment it will negate it. If I jump up like this, it will just go through the floor. So maybe just check if it's going down. That's when you want to adjust the camera. Let me go to... Let me scroll up here. Aemons Zioms. When to use get player pawn and get player character? What's the difference? Okay, so all characters are pawns, but not all pawns are characters. So a pawn is the general name given to anything that's controlled, okay, by a controller, i.e. a player controller. A character is a child class of pawn, and the character has some extra things on it that it can do, such as jumping, and it's got its character movement component. It's got stuff already set up on it for character movement. If you are using a pawn, you have to use get player pawn. Get player pawn will work no matter which case, but get player character will only work if you're using a character class instead. Character classes are notably the ones with this capsule and character movement. And obviously it says character in the top right here, whereas pawns don't. So for example, usually a vehicle is a pawn, not a character. Okay, so if you want to get the pawn, you're getting whatever the player's currently controlling. Do you know how to set up shader compilation on first launch? No. If it's not in the project settings, it'll be something you have to do in the build launch of this. Probably be in packaging. Or maybe platforms. No, I don't know. I have something else to investigate. I think I looked at this once a while ago, but never finished looking at it. One second, I can hear one of my child screaming. 1 second. Be right back. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? Sorry, everyone. Had to go deal with my crying daughter. Do you want to say hello to everyone? You want to say hello to everyone on YouTube? No, she's too scared. Okay. Okay. You gonna be okay sitting there? Okay. Yes. Sorry. She got scared, thinking that no one was in the house. So we go deal with that. Yeah, she's alright. She's just got a bit scared. That's all. Okay, so me go. I don't know what I was. Oh yeah, let's move on to the next bit. King Solomon, how do I make the flat old Lambert style shading seen in older games? Unreal seems to force me to use realistic lighting. Yes, that's because Unreal uses PBR textures. There is no way of switching it off, as far as I'm aware, of switching it off to not use PBR textures. However, you can simulate kind of roughly what you're what you're talking about to get that sort of flat shading type thing. So, for example, let's take a look at this sort of. Well, actually, let's take a character. Okay. If I go to their material in here and go to the parent material, and I can change this to default lit here to be unlit. And what you'll get is basically what it had before with Lambert, where it didn't have any sort of metallic or specular. The thing we have to take into account though is the emissive color. So the emissive color is how unlit gets passed through. You need to pass it through whatever the base color was. I'll just do it here. Add a revert node to emissive color, and you get this flat sort of shade. It will glow by default. So if I apply that, you'll see what I mean. Because emissive is glowing. Okay, but you get that sort of flat look already. If you want to make it less glowy, you can take the emissive here and multiply it by a smaller number. And if you put it by 0, you get black. So if you do it 0.1, you get a better close approximation to what the just raw color is, like that. Okay, so you can adjust that as you on the fly. And if you're doing like a sort of anime sort of style game, this is also useful for that sort of sense. You just adjust this number to get sort of brightness how you want it to go. But that's the closest you're going to get to it, really. You also need shadows. Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it? I don't think you can. Let me quickly Google. I don't think there's an option to do it. Yeah, you're looking at changing the source code of the engine, by the looks of it. Sadly, out of luck. I mean, just use base color and don't use any of the metallic or anything like that. There's another thing you can do if you want to keep that. So you set metallic and roughness and specular here to 0, roughness to 1. Don't really matter too much. Take that off there. Back to how it was. I mean, that's as close as you get. Maybe turn off normal if you don't want any normal maps on it. Oh wait, you've got the multiplier there still, haven't I? Yeah. like that. But yeah, um, other than that, just messing around with the lighting stuff, I imagine, like turning off or changing the global illumination so it's not using lumen by default, for example. Um, it depends on like also other things that you're trying to do as well, like what kind of style you're going for. You say you just want a flat shade, but what is it actually that you're trying to achieve? Like what kind of look are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to get um like old school pixelated graphics and things like that? Are you trying to do that, or are you trying to do something else? Meanwhile, Ryan, what kind of thing C++ has that Blueprint does not? C++ has everything. You can change literally the engine. If you wanted to, you could rewrite the entire material system to not use PBR texturing and shading if you really wanted to. But let's say you just write just gameplay specifics of what you can do, which is really handy. So one thing that is really good to do in C++ that you can't do in Blueprints is delegations. You can't do a delegate node in Blueprint. Okay, you have to rely on ones that are already made for you. And what I mean by delegates is if I do set timer by function, for example, not function, set timer by event here. So this is a delegate, this event delegate here. I can't add those to my own custom functions, which is really annoying. I wish I could, but you can't. Okay, but in C++, obviously you can. So there's lots of nodes and reasons why you may want to plug in, like, okay, I want this event to fire when this has occurred, or this has occurred, this has occurred. So there's lots of different things to worry about in that sense. But yeah, you can't do this in Blueprint. So if you want to make functions with delegates, you have to use C++. That's just one example. Yeah. Also, yeah, subsystems. So singletons. If you don't know what singleton is, it's basically a subsystem. So the enhanced input subsystem. These things, you can't make these in Blueprint. You can simulate them in some kind of aspect by spawning an actor in, or you can just make an object and spawn it as an object if you wanted to as well. So when you create a Blueprint class, rather than choosing actor, choose object, select that, and let's say this can be my gameplay manager. And this object here is not going to be spawned into the world. It's just going like you can't place it into the world because it's not an actor, so you can't drag it out like that. But what you can do is you can construct it and build it. So in the game mode, you need to, or game instance or whatever you want doing it in, you want to do construct object from class, and you choose the object. So gameplay manager. There you go. And that will construct the object and put it into memory. Okay, so it spawns it in, so to speak. And you've got a reference to it here. So it's not spawned in by default like other subsystems, but you can do it like this. And this way it doesn't require you to spawn it into the world if you don't want to. But you can use that as well as a method. So there are workarounds, but yeah, singletons are pretty handy for that basis as well. Hi, Vault Breaker. Brian Kafari, I would like to see a Borderlands style game tutorial for the year like you did for Pokemon and Crash. Working on gun parts that make up a whole gun to then be randomized into their bazillion guns. Yeah, we could do. We have done something similar to that in the past. With regards to like making it spawn and generate random guns. The logic behind it is pretty simple. It's just generate lots of art assets to complement it. Basically, you have a chassis, like the underneath chassis skeleton, and it has a lot of sockets on it, and you just spawn things based upon the sockets. So relatively simple. It's just got a lot more artwork to do with it. I've got stuff out there you can see, but it's a to give a brief example here. You'd like, let's say for example's sake, I go to modeling mode here, and I'll do a very basic thing here. That'll do. And this would be like the chassis of the gun. And on the static mesh, you'd add sockets to it where things would connect. And as long as you're consistent with where the sockets connect, you should be okay. So this socket here would be the muzzle socket. And I can put that at the end of the gun there. Like another one. Grip socket. Like this. Okay, and doing things like that. And you can then make other meshes that can apply to that, and you just signify them as and attach them to the sockets there. That's all there is really to it. So again, another example. Let's go to modeling mode here. Let's just do something like this. You typically put the root or the pivot where the socket will connect to it. So if you want it to overlap a little bit, you want to move the pivot to be inside of it somewhat. So we'll bake the transform first. But then I'll move the pivot slightly in like that. Okay. And then this would have that attached to it. So I'd make an actor. And give it that chassis. Like that. And then I can attach meshes to it, and I can randomize what mesh they're using. So this is the muzzle mesh. I'm going to attach it here to the muzzle socket. Like that. And then I can swap out the mesh as it flips around. So yeah, it's typically not too difficult. It's just a lot of art. I don't have any recommendations for the fab assets in the sale. I haven't looked at the sale, to be honest. Been kind of preoccupied. M1S470. Having a good time. What is your advice for complete beginners to start, especially as a team of beginners? Make something very, very simple. So one advice I keep giving people lately is when you're starting to learn Unreal Engine and starting to make little games, the kind of scope you're looking at for when you're learning to make your own game is take a mini game from Mario Party, remake it. Okay? If you can do that, good. Pick a different one. Do another one. Do another one until you get really good at it. And that's all you're looking to do is make little games like that start. So your scope is very, very low, but it helps you learn it very quickly and do the whole package of that in itself. But yeah. Did you say you can override the material pipeline of C++? Does that mean I could make a flat Lambert shading I was talking about? I mean, yeah, if you're a graphical engineer, yeah, you can. The Unreal Engine source code is available to everyone. You can go in and change everything you want about it if you have the know-how. I don't, but if you do, great. All the power to you. You can go into the engine and edit any of the code of the engine and change how it renders if you wish. I can imagine it being a lot of work, and probably not worth it. But yeah, I'll probably think of a way around what you're trying to do. Honestly. Hey, Aman7ohms, how to make nav mesh updates when building inside the game with a building system, so enemies know where the doors are and everything else. Yep, that's very simple. You want to go into your project settings, go down to the navigation mesh settings. Here, scroll down, and you'll find in a runtime generation, we're going to change from static to dynamic. You've got three options: dynamic modifiers only and dynamic. You want to choose dynamic. Modifiers only means that it will only update for modifiers, like if you've ever seen a nav mesh modifier, it only updates those. But dynamic means it's going to regenerate the nav mesh as it goes. Keep in mind that obviously comes with some overhead, so you've got to deal with that. That's a problem. No, King, you're making your own version of basically your own branch of the engine. But like, I mean, you technically do every kind of style with PBR. So I don't know what part you're getting stuck on trying to achieve. If it is just like, I mean, have you got a demo of? Have you got a game that you're trying to target, like style wise? Lottie, I have a widget opens when you interact with a blueprint and multiple of that blueprint on the map, and want each widget interaction to be able to happen independently. How? Okay, I have a widget opens when you interact with a blueprint and multiple of that blueprint on the map. I want each widget interaction to be able to happen independently. Hang on, my head. um, I have a widget that opens when you interact with a blueprint and multiple of that blueprint on the map. I want each widget interaction to be able to happen independently. Right now, it opens a widget and keeps all the previous input data. Oh, are you just hiding the widget? Just create the widget. And if you are doing remove from parent, there's a thing you have to be aware of how remove from parent actually works. So when you do remove from parent, as a widget, yeah, that's not actually deleting the thing from memory. It still exists in memory. So after you've done that, when you go to hide it, so once you turn it off the first time, you want to collect garbage. Do that, and that'll clear up any unreferenced actors, including widgets from the game. Okay. That'll clear it completely. Alternatively, on the construct, you are wiping away. You want to reset it all on the construct event. Overbeck Studio. How do you make a toolbar button to spawn in a custom environment lighting setup? It needs to be in the toolbar. Do you mean the toolbar of the editor? Is that what you're trying to do? Are you talking about something like the environment light mixer? This thing? Is this what you're looking for? If it's something like this, if not, you can make your own widget options. You can't make it part of the toolbar without editing the actual game engine code. Yeah. Ryan from Smart A, have you done anything around showing path prediction for AI movement? Yes, you can do that with the I've done a one called what I called it. I done it a few years ago in Unreal Engine 4. It's a video for navigation pathfinding. It's like how I made it so it was like a sparkle would show you where to go next. And that uses AI pathfinding. You can predict it's not prediction. You're basically telling it to calculate a path, and then it's just returning the path as like a load of vectors. Mess around with that. Should I be learning state trees or behavior tree for AI? Why not learn both? Behavior trees are more simplified, I think, compared to state trees. But state trees, because they're more robust, you can use them for lots of other different things. Um, they have a lot more flexibility. But where they, as always, when there comes more flexibility, there becomes more complexity. So you do have to worry about that. Um, if you're doing, chances are the AI you're trying to do is going to be quite relatively simple. So you may be better off sticking with behavior trees. Um, Conrad, hi Ryan, could you possibly show how to take 2D photo in game and apply it to a simple square? Try and make a Polaroid camera. Yes, I've done a tutorial series about it. You can check it out called Photo Mode. So check out Photo Mode and you'll see how you do that. Hi Ryan, is there a considerable performance impact between HDRIs and sunlights and volumetric clouds? I'm making a racing game and I feel this is taking a lot of performance. You feel like it is or you know it is? It could be taking quite a lot of performance hits, HDRIs and all that stuff does. Um, but you can always check to see what is causing the big issues with your rendering. So if you package the game up and play it through Unreal Insights, if you just Google Unreal Insights, you'll see how to set it all up. Play the game and you can break down and see what is causing the biggest lag and rendering time in your game. So confirm it is the case first. It probably is, but you can double check and see what performance issues actually are that way. By the way, if Overbeck, if you are going to go edit the engine and how to make this have your own custom button in the top here, you have to go into the source engine and change the widget code for the Unreal to know exactly which widget. A good thing to look at is to bring up the widget reflector tool, which I don't know if you could. There is a way to do opening it up in here, but if not, you can do it through widgets. I'll just do it through the widget. I can't remember the shortcut. So if you open up the widget reflector like this, and we're going to do pick hit testable widgets, this actually works for the engine as well. So if I click on this here, it'll tell me what it would actually be part of. Okay, so if I stop that there with the escape key, I can see the widgets that it's referring to for the window of the whole engine. So we've got it part of there. It's a multi-box widget. Inside of S window. So these are sort of things you'll be looking at. This thing, window editor, this thing here. Don't see anything else there. Could be wrong. Oh, right, no. Oh, no. Yeah, be looking at that in the engine. So look for this in the engine and see what you find. But yeah, you're editing that sort of thing. There's no way to do it without editing the engine code. Oh, you want to put it on the actual product? Okay. You can. Yeah, you just so the image you're going to get out, you just apply it to a material as a texture parameter. Texture sample parameter. Give it an input name, and you add it in like you would any other widget, any other texture, using create dynamic instance and applying it to that. I won't go into it too much because we have to make the whole thing, but yeah, you just the texture file that you're referring to just gets loaded up into this material, and you apply that material to a mesh. Um, can I chat the difference between set game mode only and set game mode U and UI? Yep. Okay. So in in the controller, there's three input modes. You've got game only, UI only, and game and UI. Basically, what this is doing is controlling where your inputs get sent. So when you tap keys on your keyboard or your gamepad, they go into the game and they get trafficked to one of two locations. It will go either to the widget interface or the controller interface, the player controller. So the player controller is for the game side of things. So input mode game and game and UI will receive it in the player controller. So if you want to use things like the enhanced input system, that's player controller, that has to be in the game. Okay. UI means it's going to forego the player controller completely and only send information from the inputs to the UI. And that's it, really. That's all it does. But that does mean you don't have access to things like the enhanced input system and things like that because they are player controller specific. But that is literally just the difference. So if you want your input keys to still work when you open up some UI, you just want to bring it into game and UI mode. I think we're gonna have to end it there. I'm gonna take my little girl upstairs to bed. But before I do that, just a reminder: we have actually got a Black Friday coupon code available for everyone who wants a private training session via ryanlady.com. If you go to ryanlady.com and use the code BF20 at the checkout, you can get 20% off any order, be it a single session, a bundle of sessions, whatever you want. And those, once you've booked them, once you've bought them, they last in your account and you can book them whenever you like. So you don't have to book them right now. You can just store them, basically, if you wish. So you can do it right now over on ryanlady.com. That is only available for this week and next week only as part of the Black Friday sales. We are also working with Lerts again to provide a discount code for another massive Lerts pack of assets. You can get a discount for that using BF60. You go to find on the YouTube channel the link in there from the video. You'll see it was released last week. You'll find a link inside that, as well as you'll find posts on my Patreon page. If you don't know already, you can support us on Patreon. Patreon.com/RyanLady. You can find the link to that, plus the coupon codes for the sessions as well. Oh, and that, take care, everyone. We'll be back hopefully next Tuesday with Bill for podcast. And plenty to talk about. We've got to talk about the Steam machine stuff. We've got to talk about, oh God, what else came out? There's some Xbox stuff happened. I can't remember what it was. There was loads of stuff that happened. I'll keep track of it. But anyway. We must go, unfortunately, but take care. We'll be back again next Wednesday for another question time. So bring your questions along. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time and your patience and your questions. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Bye.